Madam Speaker, we spent a great deal of time today talking and debating about the details of the bill, definitions and language and precedents. I think I'd rather speak to the effects of this bill and what it's actually going to mean to our constituents. When this bill is passed, or I should say if this bill is passed, I gather it probably will, it's definitely going to impact our constituents directly. And I'm not just talking about our constituents who are employers themselves, but I'm also talking about those who work for people in our district. The underlying bill here prevents employers from communicating vital information to their employees, regardless of whether or not that information directly impacts their jobs in a positive or a negative way. When I was thinking about this bill and as we were discussing, I was thinking about two companies in my district in particular that I think are going to be directly impacted by this bill. The first, in a negative way, it's a small manufacturing firm in the town of Beacon Falls. And I thought about what might happen if we continued to push for increased regulation on our cap and trade law that we've already adopted a few years back, and how that would affect this manufacturer. If the owner of this company, which employs a couple dozen people, it's been in business for a long time, it's a family business, wants to discuss the issue and how it's going to affect his employees, if he wants to discuss this and actually just bring this information to their attention and how this particular legislation hypothetically could harm them, he's not going to be allowed to do it. That hurts these employees. The second company I thought of is a local pharmacy in the town of Beacon Falls, who actually has very actively lobbied in favor of certain legislation that stands before the legislature this year. This legislation will help that company. They are a company that have less than 10 employees, family-owned again, very, very active in our community. And if they want to talk about this particular legislation with their handful of employees and how this legislation could potentially impact them in a positive manner, they're not allowed to do it if we pass this bill into law. They won't be able to discuss this issue with their employees and bring to their attention that they could benefit from some particular legislation being considered. In my mind, Madam Speaker, that is a disservice to our constituents. In this bill, we're trying to protect the employee from having to deal with meetings that they feel are unnecessary or unwarranted or coercive. But I would argue that we're also doing damage to those employees that we're trying to protect in this legislation by not allowing employers to share that information. So, Madam Speaker, I rise in opposition to the bill, and I would ask that the members keep in mind what this legislation will actually mean to both employers and employees. Thank you.